Hello everybody, this is me, GamePango21, and today, oh boy, looks like we're talking about Concord again. Now, for those of you who have been living under a rock, Concord is the newest live service type game from Sony. Now, this live service type game is going to be $40 at launch, and this is getting them into some very interesting water. We've talked about this before, and I personally have my own gripes with this, but obviously, after sitting on it for a little bit, well, I don't think that I completely and utterly disagree with that video now. Honestly, the game still looks boring to me, and I don't really like it. But obviously, we're not here to talk about my personal opinions. We're here to see me talk about the salt that people have about the specifics of it. But what happened, you might ask? Well, very simply, Concord decided to put out a little bit of a bulletin update on the 24th of July, where they basically have this tweet from the official Play Concord Twitter account saying, "Thank you for everyone who took part in the Concord beta. Before you officially board the North Star next month, we wanted to answer some of the most common questions during the beta." Now, this is usually where we go into it, but there is a lot to it, and essentially what this thread happens to have is a bunch of different updates for what content they are going to have at launch and what content they are going to have going forward. Now, I didn't read through the whole thing, but it did seem like there was things such as no battle pass system, very little, if any, microtransactions, according to at least some of the Twitter space, but I take that usually with a grain of salt, as well as one or two other things that seem to basically entail that this will be a full, complete game at launch, despite the fact that it is a live service game and that we're fairly certain that most of the stuff that they've said will probably be monetized in one way or another. But of course, unsure about that, but right now, it's very interesting how much this is going to go. But I don't believe that this is going to be successful because of some of the numbers and things that we'll get into. But we're going to talk about some of the replies to this that I decided to take. And there seems to be several different ones that people were talking about. One of the more common ones that I happened to actually come across was something from the 3D3N FPS gamer here with a "please delay the game. This is not by any means a finished product," which seems to be a shared sentiment among several people, with Sir Ghost the second talking about how "please delay it and add PvP. It's going to be hard to stand out in this environment. Game is fun, but you'll need more to survive. We want you to succeed," which again, a lot of people also tended to talk about here. But then we also have Simoku Deck with a "either delay the game or give it for free because it's not worth $40 at the moment," which seemed to be another very big shared sentiment among a lot of the people out there. Some of the other people out there would call it woke trash and talking about how it should be free to play, with Bernardo adding of "just go and talk to Herman Hulse and put the game to free to play and monetize the game with a battle pass and microtransactions, $30 and a $50-$60 founder edition for anyone who wants," which most people were talking about free-to-play aspects of this. But of course, we then had people who were defending this, saying that, "hey, no battle pass, that's a W," with a "to the bitter crowd, you'd much rather have a monthly paid battle pass," which, great grammar, by the way, "microtransactions versus a one-time payment and free content. Shaking my head. Y'all broke and bitter. Lamau, I'm dropping in day one. Hashtag Concord." And that seems to be a large sentiment among some of the people who are talking about this for the reasons of delaying the game. Because, again, while $40, and even that is under the value of current $70 AAA experiences, one of the things that I always seem to continue to talk about is this game, to me, is not worth $40. It just looks like a Destiny clone, and not even a good one, as enthusiastic Carlian supporter points out here, saying "just pack it up and go home. She's already won," with the character of Alt Bunny talking about the game. And I believe this is the first Ascendant, but I forgot specifically because I don't keep up with that. And some other people here, such as Yori, saying "good luck making this work," and Bunny with I get to finally see an evolve and Battleborn situation befall a game in real time. Now, again, to those people who may or may not know what the heck that they're talking about, a little bit of an explanation is that Evolve/Battleborn was one of those games that came out with a premium experience where they came out into an environment where the price was lower, the price of entry was lowered to a more free-to-play type value in terms of these multiplayer ones, or they came into an established niche of video games, with Evolve being, I believe, the asymmetrical multiplayer that is one versus a group of people, and Battleborn being the hero shooter where they lost out to the more popular and bigger premium experience and kind of showed where the market was at the time. This seems to be the same sort of case here, and while I'm not going to say that this game was not popular, I do think that they're going to have a big of a struggle bus here with this. But of course, we move on to some more actual salty retweets rather than just replies, with a just pack it up little bro from Penguin the War Criminal posting out Overwatch as well as Marvel's Rivals. I think it's the new Marvel's hero shooter game, or like an old free-to-play Marvel's hero shooter game that kind of came out recently, which everyone already seems to like. I've seen gameplay of this. It looks not like my cup of tea at all. But Overwatch 2, if you're being compared to that, saying that that's like a good example, it's a little bit, that's just to show you the quality of the game. But Milan here is again another defender of this, talking about how there's no battle pass for a live service game. Are you sure this is a live service game? This feels more and more like an old school traditional multiplayer game with passing blog. Very interesting approach. I guess we won't know how progression feels until we play it, which I'm probably going to hedge my bets here and talk about how, and say that the actual progression is going to be very fucking grindy, i.e. this was originally meant to be a free-to-play multiplayer game, but they decided to take that out, put the payment up front, but keep the grindy aspect to keep people grinding for specific stuff. And one of the things out there that was also being talked about was like Payday 3 kind of did this, where they had the progression system where they were doing it like challenge based to get XP, and there was no XP outside of that, which everyone seems to hate. So if it has a similar thing where like there's very little, if any, progression, or it's extremely grindy of a progression, I don't know if a lot of people will stick with it, because again, to me, the gameplay is just not good. While other people might look at this and say, oh, this is just absolute woke trash and woke garbage, no, it's not necessarily, even though it was produced by Sweet Baby Inc. It's a very strange situation. But of course, if you're talking to people like Trevin Bolian, with a very interesting tagline there, saying, if you're not sure about Concord, this is a thread to read. A $40 buy-in for a premium experience will get my attention over free-to-play anytime. And I mean, I guess to some people that just does make sense, but $40 and to call Concord a premium experience, I don't think you know what a premium experience is. So, but of course, that's not the only person who's talking about this, and where Papa Joe Pa talks about how everyone is saying this game is DOA because it's $40. But isn't this the very system gamers have been begging for, with no battle pass and cosmetics earned through gameplay? I mean, yeah, but just attach it to a good game. Make the $40 worth it in terms of like gameplay and stuff. And this has not sold me, and I don't think it's sold a lot of people. Because, again, I looked at the gameplay. I watched the gameplay. I tried to enjoy it. I've seen what it is. It's not good. Like, I've seen this sort of game before. I've seen this sort of way that the game is being operated before. It's a very colorful cast of people. And to a lot of people that look at that and say, oh, looks really cool, they're wondering why at all would you buy a game that you see that's not worth $40, but you buy the game and have that experience rather than have, say, a free-to-play experience that gives you the exact same thing and probably has better and tighter gameplay, at least in terms of what I've seen. With a saying, for those asking for a traditional multiplayer experience, Concord is delivering what you want. No battle pass and content up front. And this seems to have been a big talking point as well, where they were talking about how, hey, there's no battle pass, and there's like content progression and stuff. But we haven't seen any of that yet. They just say that they don't have that. Now, again, they might not call it a battle pass, they might call it something else, but if, say, Helldivers 2 is the kind of benchmark that you're going off of for the game being a specific amount of money to then do that, like, that could be fine. The one thing that I also want to point out here is that this is probably, at least on PC, going to require a PSN account, because they've been kind of pushing that out recently a lot to pad their numbers. Now, I'm not sure if the beta required a PSN account, but if this thing does require a PSN account, guess what? You've just locked out a bunch of your customers, and that kind of sucks. Not because of, like, anything that's bad. I mean, PSN is probably an okay service if you're there. It's just that I don't have one, I don't want one, and I don't need one. So, yeah. But of course, we have other people such as FS Soul Addict saying, after reading this, a lot of haters are going to realize how wrong they were with an agenda. This game will surprise everyone over time, and I'll stand on that hill. Now, I wanted to point this out because I've actually had this opinion before where I saw a game that a lot of people didn't like, but a lot of people did like. That main game that I was talking about was actually, if I remember correctly, it was the first game that I had that with was Rainbow Six Siege, and Rainbow Six Siege did actually end up being good. It did have like a little bit of a lull in popularity. I really should get back into playing that more. But I mean, I think that they still have a premium experience with mostly free-to-play aspects in there. But, I mean, again, the cosmetics are very much more expensive. So it's one of those things where it's fine, I guess. And then finally, to go on to the Defender hate train here, before we get on to the actual like hate train, I guess, of Loreen with, I am shocked and confused that Concord has no battle pass. Huh? This feels counterintuitive, but I suppose that unlocking, quote, hundreds of items through leveling up is effectively a battle pass. But man, I'd have to bet money that there would have been one. How are they monetizing it, eh? And that's a genuine, actual question, and I think a very interesting concern. Talking about what they're going to monetize and how they're going to monetize it is going to be very interesting. Now, I do think if that they're going for the actual way that they might have like DLCs and stuff that you can purchase down the road, because I know for an interesting instance of like a weird comparison, I guess, the finals have recently added a new bundle that you can buy on to the actual game, and that you pay them to get like premium currency, but you also get like a bundle on top of that. So you still give them money, but you get like premium currency and other stuff. So it's a very interesting balance there. I don't think that's very much not the same thing, like, at all, because again, that's a free-to-play model and a completely separate thing entirely. So, yeah. But of course, people such as Jay Viper here were talking about and dunking on how, quote, everyone was playing the beta, and that everyone came out to around 2,388 people on a free-to-play weekend for this beta. Oh boy. I am very scared to see where this goes. Now, of course, this is like, I think their original peak was around 1,000 players. And I know that a lot of people talk about how, if it goes under like 30,000 players, the game is dead. It's like, no, 30,000 to 15,000 players is still a sizable amount of people within a football field. So that's fine. But like 2,000 to 3,000, yikes! I'm fairly certain that my high school had that amount of like kids and of people on a daily basis, which that's a little bit concerning for it. Much like how Dustin says here, saying, I simply do not see how a game that peaked with 2,200 players on Steam when it was free will survive with a $40 barrier with or without a battle pass. And that's, again, a very good, genuine concern. And I agree with that for the most part. I don't, like, you can have some of the best stuff in the world, but you can't get over the fact that your competitors are going free to play and are very successful in that, but having the $40 price point is a little bit of an upsell, especially given how your game looks and feels and is viewed by the general public. Because again, a lot of people have been talking about things such as Supersonic Station, talking about how go woke, go broke with the boycott Concord hashtag. I'm not sure if this is trending or not, but yeah, that seems to be a very big sentiment where there people were talking about how, oh, it's go woke, go broke and stuff like that. And it's very strange how some of the people like Loti here also can talk about how this feels like a test. Oops, just dropped my pen. This feels like a test to if gamers want to go back to traditional systems without in-your-face microtransactions, and we're failing for now, which a lot of people seem to be in that mindset of like, oh, this game is going to be successful because it's going to do this. But I think one of the couple takes that I'm going to say that are the most levied and the most like neutral, but also the most informative here comes from Oki with I played Concord and it is indeed trash. Nice graphics, ugly designs, good cutscenes, mid gameplay. 6 out of 10. They should have took all of this and made a single player action game, which I mean, I can see that. I think that a single-player action game with this sort of gameplay could have worked. Like, make Destiny but single-player, which I think that could end up being a good idea, where you have, like, space wizards and, like, fighting aliens and stuff, but not in an MMO-type setting, because I just think that would be really cool. Like, that just sounds like an interesting thing. And, of course, one of the things that there is also supposed to be a big selling point here is that they're going to have amazing cinematics and movies and stuff and many, like, good production value behind it. But I didn't buy a game to watch your movies and cutscenes. You know what I mean? Because I think that, like, games... I don't think Alan Wake did this, but I know that... one of the games tried to make a TV show stroke hybrid video game thing where they had like real world actors and people acting them out and like over 100 hours of film and stuff. But the game itself was very mid and not really great. If that makes sense. I forget specifically. I don't remember the example that it was, but it was the people who made Control. It was their one before Control, I believe, where the main character had like time manipulation powers or something like that. I forget specifically the name of it. If it's in there, I'll put it up. But to kind of end this off before we get again too long here, Bryce with an interested to see how this roadmap pans out. If they've got good, consistent updates in line alongside the solid launch they're aiming for Concord might be the surprises hit of 2024 for me. And I think that that's a good sentiment to also have. We do need to know that these are beta numbers, and this doesn't inquire about everyone, but those beta numbers, even the free ones, oh boy, those are going to be hard to upsell people on. If your thing can't even crack like 2,500 players for free, the $40 price tag is a big, big selling point of maybe this game needs to either be made better or something along those lines. But I think that'll about do it for this episode of I Ran Into a Microphone for 5 about something that clearly a lot of people are passionate about. I think overall my final thoughts on this game are It's fine. I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna not be something that I play or something to be something that I don't do at all. Not because I don't like the game. Well, mainly because I don't like the game, but it's not because it's rogue trash. It's mainly because it just doesn't look appealing or good to me because I already have those experiences on other games and they play a lot better and feel a lot better. So yeah, but in the end, I think we'll see what ends up happening. If the game is good, fuck it. I'll see if I can get swing $40 that way. But at the end of the day, who cares? If you like the game and think that it's good, go on yeah, Chief. But if you hate the game and think that it's woke garbage, just don't play it, I guess. I don't really have any opinion any other way. I just wanted to make some content on this because a lot of people are salty about it. In any case, my name is GamePango21. If you like what it is to do and want to support me in any way, shape, or form, links down to everything in the description down below. And new album possibly coming out in late August, mid-September, but that's neither here nor there. In any case, again, my name is GamePango21, and a peace off.